Yes! Sorry. Yes! I'm so bad at this. Hello, everyone. Hello, nice of all you to see here. Me, yes, I have. It's lighting. As you can see, the light source is coming from up above. Why? There's still a hole in my roof where the guards fell through. It got worse. Apparently, I had something heavy on the floor above me and it caved in. So here we are, another day. But honestly, I'm rather like, I'm rather liking the lighting. But no, so Hold on, sorry. God, no. Bastard. Oh my god. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just swinging my arms everywhere all over the place. You know, putting rings on gloves, you might have to look into it. It's not the most foolproof system, but hello! Welcome on to another video with your host, Mediophile. It is I am here to all of you, for all of you, to bring you joy, to bring you happiness, to bring you comfort during these trying times. And honestly, look, I apologize if I can't get as close as I'd love to with the camera usually. But like I said, the lighting is a nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare. But it is here. It is something that I have in my possession. I am standing up, as you can see, because honestly, some things have moved around in the dungeon or two ago. And there's a lot of things happening right now. So I'm sorry I don't have the setup. Just this. That's all I have. But hold on. You know, light please. There we go. No, so yeah, so you can see me somewhat if I get close to you now. I'm sorry, I have candles. But now, welcome to the video. Oh my god, deja vu. I'm sorry. So, a lot of things happened. Well, sort of. I finally have Wi-Fi. Internet. That is what I have, yes. I won't say what company I have right now, just because in case something stupid happens, you know, no one comes after me. So I am here performing. No, I'm not performing. Maybe perhaps in a future video, who knows. But recently I uploaded a video, almost, I believe it was yesterday, I'm not really sure, sometime during the week, about Mage society. It is about where I come from, the things that happen, things like politics a little bit, but mostly how the social aspects of my society affect everyone who lives in it. But of course, I also want to make sure all of you are doing well. Remember that this channel, these videos are meant to be something lighthearted. They are meant to bring you joy, to help you laugh in the midst of your despair, to help you move forward in your life, as we all should, honestly. And so I am here standing. I'm not used to it. At least not for this video. I was always sitting up for most of the video. But if you remember correctly, I did, however, say that I was going to be standing up for a video or two ago, just to try it out. Honestly, you can do a lot more. It is a lot more animated. I'm sorry. My cake. Hold on. This is bothering me. Trying to see me undressed. You're all perverts. Hold on. Alright, the dragon goes around the castle, swoops under the keep, and then comes up, and the queen is now naked. So here we go. That's it. Oh! No! Stop that! Oh my, you know what? You're putting you in time out. You bastard ring! It's always you! God! Oh my god, I'm so sorry. One less ring. One less ring. No, I'm sorry. I'm sad. This is a disaster. This video is an absolute disaster. I don't know what is happening. Oh my god. I stand up for once and the spirits are out to get me. Speaking of spirits, Pahalubi. This video sucks! I'm sorry. Pahalu, thank you. For another day, another light. You who guide me through the deepest, darkest of darknesses. You who guide all my followers, all those people who believe in you, I ask that you bring them kindly and swiftly to wherever they are to go. I ask that you look after all of these lovelies, all of these rejects, my rats, that they are cared for, that you give them scraps from your table, and that they will always be fed. So, without further more delay, let's just get into the bulk of the video. I'm sorry, I spent almost 5 minutes doing nothing. Welcome to the channel. So excited. Okay, so let's begin. So, last week I talked a bit about Mage society. There's a lot of things that happened during our society. I talked about the war that happened recently, how the king was executed, how a new one was put in place, how we had a dinner afterwards, and how, I had a lost loved one. It was a very traumatic experience. Since then, I sort of, I sort of got myself together a bit more. It's not something I usually talk about because it's quite a touchy subject. Sorry, I have to breathe again. It is quite a touchy subject. It is something that many of us do not really wish to, to just give to others, for others to, know and realize, but it is something that we all go through. It is something that we need to experience for ourselves, so, but this time I'm going to talk to you about a bit more, I don't want to say mundane things about my society, but a bit more things that I believe should be useful to you. So, so last week I talked about a bit about, the recap, oh my God, what? Sorry, my memory isn't what it used to be. I am over 200 years old. All right, okay, same, sorry, delay. Yeah, so I talked about the war, how we had the issues with dragons, how forbidden magics were used, how there is things like arranged marriages in my society, how, when a child gets to a certain age, perhaps maybe 10, maybe a bit younger, if they're very proficient in magic, start to develop the magic, then they start to be enrolled in certain schools. There was hesitancy to put them in schools because certain kids ended up dying because magic is a very dangerous thing. And when it's not practiced in the safety, if there's no one present there, or perhaps if the kids are just being children, as they often are, unfortunately, these things do happen. So what I want to go into mostly is things like, school life and things like work. So in each household, doesn't matter the number, there's people that go to work, the type of work that we do mundane things. Sometimes, yes, we work, some of us are shop owners, other ones are landowners, other people are tradesmen, merchants, fishermen, things of that sort, anything to have some sort of money come in. We don't just have this vault that just has money coming in, like Harry Potter. It doesn't work that way, I'm sorry. That's not how magic works. In order for you to have something tangible, even in the magical realm, you need to have something of equal value. It can be time you put in, it can be things you invested. Sometimes mages go out and they take bounties, for example. They try to hunt down dangerous creatures, things like dragons, etc. Or ogres. Things like rascals are also an issue. There's a lot of things that are, going on in my realm all the time, but it's how we keep busy. Some of us, we have to look after internal affairs, things like finances, managing everything else. Information brokers, that's another thing that we have in our society. The law masters, the people that look after all of our information, all of our history and culture, that is also a task and a job. And it's especially necessary when you have students that are going to schools, things like daycares, they even have things for that. They even have things that are going to a university, an academy, a magisterium, anything else. Some of us also enroll as teachers of the arts, both dark, light, intermittent, things like that. Some of us even help them with physical tasks, therapies, if they underwent something terrible. We have things like doctors, we have everything else. So it is not too different from how you have in your world, except our world, because it is more magical, obviously, there's a lot of things that we need to, put together. We have a lot of things to organize. We have the things like the arcane forces, or the MPs, the magical police. I know it's a very corny name, but that's what they're calling it for PC reasons. I don't care, honestly. I kind of like arcane forces. It sounds a bit more badass if you say some, if I say so. But, I am a minority, apparently. Other people don't really share my opinions, but that's fine. We live in a society, well, most of us, we live in a society where, we don't necessarily, kill other people for their opinions, though I can't say in yours, but, it is what it is. And, well, to be fair, to put myself in check, we did have a war over some kings that were doing some selfish things, worthy of opinion. So it's that whole thing, but it's not different from how you do in your world. So let's say, for example, in your world, and we do have mundane in my world. Make no mistake about it. I forgot to make a disclaimer. Not everyone in my realm uses magic. More people do, and the type of magic we use is a lot more ostentatious, a lot more fantastical. Things that you might normally see in magic, like movies, Harry Potter, or games like World of Warcraft, Dragon Age, whatever, D&D. All of those things, they happen in my world. They are tangible things, but there are people that aren't able to use magic. That just happens. Sometimes they are born from mage families. Other times they are anomalies. We don't really explain. We don't really know why, but they simply do. But the majority of the people in my society are in fact mages. But we have to take this into account. Just because we are a mage, and yes, I'm not a person of the cult of Magda who believes that all mages are superior to everything else. You know, some mages die against the dragon. Does that mean we're superior? No. Some mages die from falling off of a cliff and they forget to encant a sort of protection spell. That happens. Are we all equal? Not really, in a sense. But we are equal in the fact that we all have a soul, we all have a spirit, and we all have emotions, okay? How good those emotions are depend upon the individual person. How we go through life also depends on the person itself. Your financial status is different. Where you are born is different. I wasn't born in a castle by the sea. Other people weren't born in a hovel. Some other people were born from, you know, I'm not going to say it. But there's a lot of things that we need to, you know, we need to think about. A lot of things that come to mind. And so it is something that I have noticed in my society. So for the mundane people that don't have magic, they still are able to attend the academies and magisteriums, to learn how it is that we use our magic, to know how to defend themselves against magic, because some of them could be our sisters, our brothers, our uncles, aunts, even our parents could be some of these mundane folk, you know, but they still need to be acquired into society. You know, if they can't use magic, they can still be enrolled in mundane tasks. They can be doctors, they can be physicians, they can even be alchemists to a certain degree. And that is actually an outlet that many of the mundane are taking. Things like alchemy, you know, things like arcanists, or you know, all of those things that incorporate sort of, you know, imitations of magic, involving things like poultices, potions, tonics, even things like bombs and everything else. They also undergo that as part of their training to defend themselves against, you know, mages that would wish to do them harm. We try to live in a fair enough society, and there was a time a long time ago. I don't believe I was alive for this, thankfully. But there was a time where the mundane were treated as second-class citizens because they did not have access to the magic like we do. They were quite susceptible to magic. However, by living in a magical world, their bodies abnormally became a lot more resistant to magic compared to the bodies in your world. They sort of had to. They could not use magic, but you know, any wayward magic spell wouldn't kill them outright. They would have a higher chance of surviving magical misfire than people in your world would. That's just how it is in my realm. But that is how they live. So, but for that time, a lot of them were sort of forced into these sort of camps. I won't say internment camps for some cruel people. Others were hired as servants to serve under mage families. Other ones, they were made into slaves for slave labor, like what I talked about. Something that was, you know, gotten rid of, something that was abolished in my society quite some time ago because we saw it as indecent, we saw it as unfair. People started opening up their eyes when they started seeing people of their own family members not having magic. That sort of was like a thing, like, oh my God, it's a curse. And then the cult of Magda got involved. Look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Everyone's entitled to their belief systems. Everyone's entitled to, you know, their religions or whatever. But I have to say what I have to say. I'm sorry. You know, it's the same thing in your world. There are things that I don't have to like about your faith or anything else. When it comes to the Magda faith, the ones that are all about mages first and everything else, there was a time where they sort of pushed against that, and they were a bit upset. They were saying, look, the fact that there are so many mundane being born proves that magic is being driven out of our world. And I said that is absolute horseshit. That is not how that works, okay? We don't just decide who has magic and who doesn't. The spirits decide that. Pahalo decides that. The magic embedded within the world are the things that determine that. You know, there were extensive studies done by professors, by the certain ministries, by the magisteriums. Like, for example, I believe it was a professor or a master known as Clemens. Clemens was born approximately 1,000 years ago or so, and he wrote a whole treatise upon the proper treatment and the peace between the mundane and the magical, the fantastical. And so he was saying in his statement that, you know, well, I'm paraphrasing, he was quite eloquent, not nearly as eloquent as I am. I'm just joking. No, but he was talking about how, you know, we do not have the right to undermine any sort of life that we deem unworthy because we were born in a certain status that is not equal to theirs. He was pretty much saying that just because something does not have magic doesn't mean it's not magical, doesn't mean it doesn't have the potential for magic. Everything that is born within our realm has mana, has things like magic. Just because they can't use it doesn't mean that they should be treated anything differently. There were certain mages that went to war and they came back and they weren't able to use their magic. Some of them were cursed for life. Some of them had missing body parts that weren't able to be grown back or anything else. And so it limited their capacity for magic. It limited their ability to use magic. And some of these followers ended up being followers of Magda. And guess what happened? They were like, well, that was a technicality. They were like, no. They were running around in circles. But the cult of Magda, I'm speaking from my opinion, okay, and from things that I have seen in my realm. The cult of Magda are so focused on their belief systems that they are willing to force their beliefs upon other religions, because we do have them in our society, because they are so convinced that what they believe and that what they do is the correct way of doing so. They have their script, their spell book, their Bible, just like every religion has theirs, but they don't take into consideration the other belief systems or what they have in common. They are convinced that because Magda was a prevalent figure around 3,000 years ago, or two, or whatever, means, and because he put certain things in place, and because it sort of helped the mages regain ground and everything else in our society, means that mages are supposed to rule. That because the mages do not rule, means that the world has gone into awry, has gone into chaos. Because there is not magic everywhere, because not everyone is a mage, that's proof of that. Because somebody is born mundane, they say that that is an abomination, that is a perversion of the fact that there is no magic in our realm. Each mage is supposed to have a magic person. They are supposed to cultivate their magic. They are supposed to unite themselves with magic-only people. But by marrying people or being with someone you love, whether or not they are followers of Magda, who may or may not have magic to begin with, can sort of exacerbate the whole anti-magic thing in the Ethereum. They believe that in the realm that the spirits govern, there are certain types of energies. We have things like positive energy, we have things like negative energy. It's the same thing in the spiritual realm that govern even my realm. However, when you have people that don't have access to magic, they see this as a negative energy. The people that have magic, that can actively practice and use magic, are considered positive energy. Positive energy and negative energy cannot mix together. Unfortunately, when you have something like a person who is born with magic, marries someone who doesn't, the odds of the offspring having magic are drastically reduced by 50%. But I'm like, look, but magic isn't like that. It's not like math. You know, it's like for example, if you're a person, let's say your mother was black, your father was white, right? Or Hispanic or whatever. When the baby is born, the baby, by, you know, society measuring it just because of whatever, because of the gene pool, it means that the baby is half this and half that. But it doesn't mean the baby can't do whatever the mother and father can do. You know, the baby could probably look a lot lighter in complexion or could look darker. You know, a baby might have privilege or might not have privilege based on your beliefs upon the society that you're running. The baby can still do things, the baby can still do what it can do. You know, humans in your realm can't really use magic the way I can. Just because you're born in a biracial family does not mean that you can't be out there working like every other person. Doesn't mean you can't and shouldn't get the things that every other person born of one ethnicity can get and you can't. That is not a fair society. And my society is not run like that. But apparently the cult of Magda believe in the fiber of every being, of every follower. They believe that a person, if you're a mage, it is a right. It is a commandment that you are supposed to only marry another mage, a person of another type, and that this person is supposed to then propagate the species of mage so that we root out any chance of there being any sort of mundane. They absolutely detest the mundane. I get so mad when I hear about it. Every now and then we have these magical encounters, these meetings, you know, where we have different followers. I'm somewhat of a master back at the university, right? They called me for the professorship or whatever. I told you about this in a video a long time ago. I told them I accepted the offer. They gave me a dragon egg, this whole thing, whatever. So I was like, fine. You guys played dirty, and I have respect for that. So I went there, and of course we had a meeting. Things like teaching curriculums was the first thing. And one of the professors, believe it or not, was a follower of Magda. And guess what they said? Guess what they said? They said that we should teach the faith of Magda at this school. We have shown, and they would bring us statistics. They would bring out all of these rules, all of these things to them that proves that what they have done has worked. That their communities are producing more mages. That their communities have a host of more mana at their disposal because there's so many mages in proximity. That nature itself has sort of come back and is experiencing a resurgence in magic. And some of the professors were like, oh. I was like, are we entertaining this notion? You don't even believe in Magda, but you're willing to bow down to this ideal because they show a piece of paper and they showed a scribe for proof or whatever. But who's to say that they didn't manipulate the information? They are completely ignoring the fact everywhere else. For example, in their little town of Magda followers, let's say there's a 100% chance that what they're saying is true. Everyone in that place is a mage, and so everything there is magical. But then if you go to another city, what's it called? There was another city down south. God, what was it called? Ethra, sorry. So you have the city of Ethra down south. It's probably maybe like 100 miles south of my position, right? They have about 75% mages from what's, reported in the census within the city. They have about 75% mages. And they have the exact, they have the exact number of magical things happening in their city. So then what is it, Magda? What is it? What you're saying is bullshit. It's not how it goes. It's not, no! But, the professors were like, well, because there was a concern that a lot of mages weren't attending school anymore. A lot of mages are trying to, they're trying to find themselves in our society. Less and less mages are having partners, are having children. Why? There's a number of reasons why we don't exactly know. But what we do know is that the Magda people are convinced that there are too many mundane being born into our world, which is bullshit. But that's what they believe. And so because we are stepping away from the arranged marriage thing, which is still technically legal, but it's not enforced in my society, it proves that our magic pool is being tainted, that it's being corrupted, that our society is in danger of losing its way, of losing its magic, because the mages are not marrying people that are also mages. It is absolutely incredible how much information they ignore because it fits their narrative, because it fits their belief systems or their religion. They want to push everyone else away, and they only want to include people that are like them. If you're a mage, you are more than welcome in the modern society. But once you go there, you're expected to live a certain way, or else they kick you out. And you're not part of it, and then they blacklist you. I had a cousin that went through the same thing 5 years ago. Okay? She was a mage, and she was all about the whole, I want to follow Magda. I was like, are you sure you want to follow Magda? They're a bit crazy. They are extremely strict. They don't think about things. But she's like, no, but I think they're different. I think it'll be okay. She had some things in mind because, she was pushed around by, I guess, some mundanes at some point when she was younger. So she goes to this meeting. It's like a church in your world. Everyone's there. Magda! Magda! They were doing all of those things, right? Celebrating, worshipping this person who they revere as a god, right? And they say, first edict, all mages are created equally in the eyes of Magda. And everyone's like, yeah! Second edict, every mage here has the power to to change the world as Magda did. Yay! Mages should always be mages. They should always have the power to influence the world around them. If they do not have the power, the world will suffer, fall into chaos, everything else. Everyone's like, yes, yes, yes. They bow. That's what they do. This is them. Okay? They, they have a whole hand sign and everything. I'm not, but anyways, she goes to this Magda thing. They tell her, hi, welcome to the Church of Magda. We are so happy to have you. We love you. We believe in our mission. Spreading the message of Magda everywhere. Everyone should become a Magda follower. Everyone should be Magda, as Magda did. When Magda was in charge, when Magda was here, people did not agree with Magda. They killed Magda. But what Magda did is that Magda, he professed the word of his God. He professed the word of his message. And so by doing so, he encouraged and he influenced the manner in our world to create more mages. And when everyone was mages, the world was better. The world was greener. The world was newer. That's what they told her. And then she was in that faith for about 2 years. 2 years. She was in that. And so then she comes up to me crying one day. Right? I'm not going to say her name just to, protect her, but the family knows who she is. So she comes to me and she tells me, Media, I'm so scared. I said, what happened? She said, well, I recently, I fell in love with someone and we got along such a good time. We went to dates and everything else. And I really like this person. My family likes them a lot, but they don't have magic. I don't know what to do. Magda strictly said everything. I said, listen to me. Listen to me, okay? First of all, we don't all believe what this Magda person has to say. I understand that they're going to blacklist you if you could. I said, do you love this person? She said, yes. She said, has this person treated you with respect, with kindness, with love? Yes. How long have you known this person? Over a year. Okay, over a year. You've been dating on and off for a year, whatever. Do your parents approve of this person? Yes. So I was like, who cares then? What was the comment? They have someone alive for me. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I told her, what does your spirit tell you? What does Pahalu say? Well, in the Church of Magda, it's I'm like, what did Pahalu tell you? Okay. So you're more scared about what they're going to do to you? Is that what it is? Are they going to kill you? No. Okay, so they're just going to kick you out of the... So, who freaking cares then? And it was this whole thing. I could go deeper, but it's her business. The point is, though, she got with them. They blacklisted her when they found out she was with the mundane. They sort of cut off ties. Okay, they started spreading some strange rumors about her or whatever, that, she was, a whore or whatever. Yeah, Magda, right. You guys are supposed to be all whatever, but then you treat people like this who believe your thing and now who don't. And then every now and then you have some that's still trying to drag her back in. I'm like, don't you dare. But it's this whole thing. But I'm sorry, I just went into a huge rant about Magda. I did title video, Magda. Hello, happy Magda. It's just... But I'm telling you, these sort of things happen in my society. You think you're different because you don't have magic. That is wrong. It happens in mine. Okay? But we have schools. This Magda person comes into the circle of the professors. They say whatever. I put my 2 cents in. He gets very offended. I say, if you're so offended, if you hate me, I challenge you to a duel right now in this room. They stay quiet. Because they know I'm a battle magician because I don't bullshit. I'm tired of these lies. I'm tired of this. If you think your faith is so strong, I dare you to challenge your faith against mine. Okay? I challenge your spirit. I challenge your God versus mine. If you want to go that way, fine. We can spit words back and forth or whatever. And then I'll give you a piece of my mind. It's this whole thing, But The professors were very worried about it because they know I can be quite crazy, but they know that the magda have a reputation of whatever. The person chose to stay quiet, thankfully, but I was like, look, I believe in freedom of speech, okay? But if you're going to say whatever the hell you want, I'm going to say whatever the hell I want. End of story. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. This turned into another video. I meant to go once and I could, but honestly, the recording rate and length is this whole thing. But I'm so sorry, I have to end it here, but I'll continue with another video, I promise. But without further more delay, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that what I spoke about gave you some insight and you got some enjoyment out of it. I did not. But it's something important for you to know. So I might be busy. I'm not sure if I can, keep the schedule up as long as I'd like to. But I sure hope all of you are doing well. All of you are doing kind. Treat each other with respect, with love, with kindness. Remember that Pahalo loves you. Pahalo cares for you and your families. I want you to be at rest, at peace, and be beautiful. And remember that destiny is yours for the taking.